With the name of Allah Almighty, the most gracious, the most merciful. Respected students, friend, follower. Today we are going to discuss TESS of D'Urberville. In TESS of D'Urberville, we'll study its summary, we'll study character list of this novel, we'll study the biography of this novelist Thomas Hardy. We'll also see how many themes are existed in this novel by Thomas Hardy, TESS of D'Urberville. Let's see the life of the writer Thomas Hardy. Thomas Hardy, he was born on 1840 in Dorsetshire, England. Please write Dorsetshire, Dorsetshire, England. He was born on 1840 and 1928. He was also known with the name of naturalist. He was called naturalist, fatalist, pessimist. So like that. We've already studied about romantic writers like Wordsworth, Coleridge, John Keats, Shelley, Byron. So these were the romantic poets. They were natural poets as well. So over here, we'll see that he inculcates and he tries to show the natural greenery scene. Even if you watch a movie, TESS of D'Urberville, you will feel that there are a lot of greenery behind the scene. Whenever characters they are talking to each other, you will see there is plenty of greenery, and the scenes are being depicted with the help of greenery. So a lot of greenery is over here in his novel. So he was born on 1840 and died round about 1928. So naturalist movement that was started late 19th century, and definitely the writer is also belong to late 19th century, and his death is round about 1928. So that movement started late 19th century. That was a naturalist movement, and in naturalist movement, what writer was showing, they was showing the two side of the nature. But talk about the Wordsworth, he is taking nature as a healer, soother, comforter, and just giving him poetry. It's a source of perceiving and receiving poetry. But over here, he will show the two side of the picture. He will show you the two side of the coin. Nature is a healer as well as destructive. Sometimes nature is consoler, healer, and heals your wound, but at the same time, nature also destroys you. Look over here, nature is manipulating. What happened with the character? You see that in the Return of the Native, if you see the heroine, the Eden Heath is shown by the Thomas Hardy as a destructive element, because whoever comes in Eden Heath, he is ultimately died. So same way, he shows the two sides of the picture. Nature is not only comforter as well as destructive. So he shows you the two sides of the picture. He is a realist, he is a naturalist. He sees whatever and he shows you the same way. For example, he sees things, it's destructive, he will show you in a destructive form. If there is a healer or comforter scene, he will show you that the nature is a healer. So it means he is a realist, he is naturalist. And some people are calling that he is a pessimist. He is only showing the pessimistic attitude in his novel. So write some points related to novelist. He was born in England. He was a novelist and a naturalist. He was a Victorian writer. He is showing the typical Victorian society, and he is a poet of the naturalist movement. He is the poet of the naturalist movement. His father was a stone mason. He was doing work like architecture like this. His mother was ambitious and well-read woman. She was interested to study and she educated him well. He got his education from local school and later privately. Hardy worked as architect in London. It means that he was working as an architect as well with his father, with the support of his father. He was a stonemason. Meanwhile, he was writing poetry and got little success. Then he turned to novels. Before he was writing as a poet and he was writing short poetry. People started admiring him. When people admired him, he started writing a novel. And Firstly, he got married with a lady named Emma. Emma was you could say she was the first, you could say, woman whom she married. After that was not happy marriage, and soon she died in round about 1912 she died. And after that she got married with another lady whose name was Florence. He married another woman whose name was Florence in 1914. Hardy's second wife, she cooperated, she consoled, she admired, she helped, and his name was known among us the best novelists that time, like Charles Dickens, Victorian, other writers like Jane Austen, George Eliot, and like that. He was very prominent with the help of second wife, because second wife, she understand him, she loved him, she was much concerned about the writer, she loves him so much and helped him, guided him, promoted him, or guided him. You know that if the woman, your wife, or like near dear relatives, they support you, you can boost your career. They can boost their ruin, or they can boost your career. In the case of Hardy was not very prominent, but after second marriage, especially with the Florence helped him and she guided him, she motivated him, and ultimately he got good fame in England. And talk about his novels. He has written some novels. I would like to write name as well as age. Desperate Remedy, please write. 1871. He wrote one novel. Name of that novel is Desperate Remedies, 1871. And the second novel, Under the Green, because he was a natural writer and belongs to naturalist movement and promote nature as well, but nature in both form, good and bad, destructive and healer. Show as the nature is not imaginative like Wordsworth. Wordsworth is only showing to the cuckoo scenes and the canal scene, stream scene, daffodil scenes, flower scenes. But over here you will see that he shows nature is in both form. He is showing realism. He is more than Wordsworth. Wordsworth is showing only one picture, but he shows you the real form, nature in a real form. So look, Under the Greenwood Tree, just show this title shows that this title belongs to nature. Under the Greenwood Tree, 1872, second novel. And the third novel is A Pair of the Blue Eyes, 1871. Madding Crowd, 1874. You can write if you wish. You've got a pencil and paper ready. Just write some points. The first novel, Desperate Remedy. Desperate Remedy, 1871. Under the Greenwood Tree, 1872. A Pair of the Blue Eyes, 1873. Madding Crowd, 1874. The Return of the Native, 1878. And that is, this novel is, I think, University of Punjab. They have included in their syllabus. The Return of the Native, 1871. This novel is also taught in University of Punjab. Mayor of the Castle Bridge, 1886. And then the last, second last, TESS, 18 TESS of the D'Urbervilles. You can write simply TESS, 1891. That is we are going to study now, and just now I will teach you about summary, character list, themes, etc. like that. And the last novel is Jude the Obscure, 1895. Jude the Obscure is full of sexual scene, and he has used a lot of bodily function scene over here, and a lot of people, they started criticizing that he is using such a voluptuous and sexual kind of novel. He's writing such kind of novel, and he also got you could say agnostic. He was also a theist like George Eliot. People call him that he is a theist. He does not believe in Christianity the same way George Eliot, she left her belief. And the same way we see that he also discarded Christianity. He started believing on strange power, that there is a strange power who controls this universe. The Jude the Obscure, full of sexual scene. If you study this novel, you will see that there are a lot of nude sexual scenes, even you can't read. Hardy lost faith in Orthodox Christianity. Hardy left faith in Christianity. That is why he is called agnostic, atheist, and like that. It is said about the Thomas Hardy, when he was died, his ashes were burned in Poet Corner, because there is a place in England where all the poets, they are buried. So he was also poet and novelist. His ashes, I mean to say, his body is buried in Westminster Poet Corner, but his heart is, he was butchered. He was just chopped, his body, and his heart was pulled out. And after that, his heart was buried with his wife Emma, and his body was buried in, you could say, with Poets Corners, like that place. So in the time of Thomas Hardy, science was making progress. That was the Victorian era. There was a lot of development. There was the naturalist movement. There were a lot of movements. You got realism, naturalism, and many isms were over there. Darwinism, like other movement was, and science was also making progress. That is why Hardy lost his faith in Christianity. He takes it as a dogmatic religion, orthodox and old religion, and left belief in Christianity. And he's challenged the Christian dogma as well, like George Eliot. All his novels have a tint of Darwin and Newton. He's showing the tint. He's showing the reflection of Darwin and Newton concept, because they were the scientific people, and he was having same idea. His mostly work reflects the atmosphere of the native district Dorsetshire. Dorsetshire was a place that was quite imaginative, greenery, full of greenery, and he shows a fictional, kind of imaginative place setting in his play, like talk about Eden Heath. That was also imaginative fictional place, and the same way he is also showing in the TESS of D'Urberville, same kind of place, Wessex. His themes are fate, chance, nature, love, sex, sexual attraction, human wills, war, religion. These were his main themes. If you study his novel, you will come to know. The critic G.K. Chesterton wrote about Hardy. Please write if you can. Chesterton, Chester, Chester, Ton. Chesterton wrote about Hardy, double quote, become a sort of village atheist, darkening and blaspheming over the village idiot. I mean to say that he was a village atheist, and he was darkening, blaspheming only he meant to say he was misguiding the village idiot. You can write again if you wish. Become a sort of village atheist. Became a sort of village atheist. Atheist, a person who has lost faith in God, in religion, in Christianity. He is a atheist. Darkening and blaspheming over the village idiot. Hardy's heart was butchered out to bury it with his wife, and his ashes was buried. His ashes were buried in Poet Corner in central London. To say in Poet Corner, central London, his ashes, you could say, was buried, and his heart was buried with his wife Emma. Respected students, you are listening to the voice of Sir RANA. Our contact number is 030563194464. Contact if you want to attend our online class. We have started fast track program. If you really want to get through all MA English books, you can contact with us. Our contact number is 030563194464. You can visit our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel name is the ESL Academy. Subscribe, like, and share with your friend. You can also visit our blog. Go to Google, type ranasirliterature.blogspot.com, and if you want to visit our group or like that pages, PhD MPhil Linguistic and Literature by Sir RANA. Just type on Facebook and you can like our page too. With the name of Allah Almighty, the most gracious, the most merciful. Respected students, friend, follower. Today we are going to discuss TESS of D'Urberville. In TESS of D'Urberville, we'll study its summary, we'll study character list of this novel, we'll study the biography of this novelist Thomas Hardy. We'll also see how many themes are existed in this novel by Thomas Hardy, TESS of D'Urberville. Let's see the life of the writer Thomas Hardy. Thomas Hardy, he was born on 1840 in Dorsetshire, England. Please write Dorsetshire, Dorsetshire, England. He was born on 1840 and 1928. He was also known with the name of naturalist. He was called naturalist, fatalist, pessimist, so like that. We've already studied about romantic writer like Wordsworth, Coleridge, John Keats, Shelley, Byron. So these were the romantic poets. They were natural.